What up guys, it's Dragon Ball for Life here, and today I want to talk about Kid Buu and his power, in particular a feat of his, and this is a feat that has been debated quite a bit between the Dragon Ball community, still to this day, though I do think that nowadays it's not, it's not as big as it used to be, but it's still quite a bit of a debate, and that's if Kid Buu is a galaxy buster, and the reason people assume that he is or he isn't is due to the early scene when Shin is explaining to the rest of the Z fighters about how terrifying Buu is. He basically explains that within a few years he was able to wipe out hundreds of planets, and then we see a galaxy being destroyed and then completely wiped out. And this leads a lot of people to believe that he is, and then obviously there's some people that say no, that doesn't prove it. So in this video I'm going to go through each I'm going to dissect this and try to go through everything to see what is the case. I'm not trying to say he is or he isn't in this video, so don't assume that I'm trying to make an argument for him being a Galaxy Buster or not. Now, let's first talk about the image itself, because it's quite particularly interesting. Because if you watch the anime, it's shown blatantly right there. But if you read the manga, there's no image of a galaxy ever shown to be destroyed. The only thing we see in the manga panel is Shin explaining to us what Buu did within a few years and stuff, So there's already a problem right there and then. Now, once again, I'm not saying that this proves that he isn't a galaxy buster. I'm just saying that using that as an argument doesn't really work, because it's not even in the manga itself. It's an anime only thing. So then let's go into talk about the image itself. The image also doesn't show the universe, just a galaxy just being completely wiped out. You see a couple explosions here and there, then it starts to get destroyed and then gets wiped out. It's not like it just goes in one explosion, because that's what busting basically means. If you're a galaxy buster, that would mean that you can one-shot a galaxy instantly. But seeing as how he was wiping parts of it and then he fully wiped it out, it would go against that argument. So there are people that say that technically he's not a galaxy buster but a multi-soul system buster. Once again, they don't explain to what extent of that is. Do they mean he can wipe out 2 soul systems at once, or is it hundreds of soul systems? Because we really don't know that. Also, I'll make a video about soul systems in general, because I think that the discussion about a character being a soul system buster is far more complex than people think it is. Because soul system is, the definitions of a soul system is a little more complex, but that's for another video. I want to talk about him destroying the galaxy, and another argument I want to put into this, or a thought into this, is the fact that not every galaxy is the same size. There are galaxies smaller than ours, and there's galaxies bigger than ours. There's countless galaxies that we found that are a couple of times bigger than us, or even thousands of times bigger than ours. So we don't know the size of this galaxy either. So he could have been destroying a bigger planet, a galaxy, making this feat even more impressive, or a smaller one making it even less impressive. So it really depends on that aspect too. Another thing I think people forget is the fact that what is Buu's goal, and basically another more of context to the explanation that Shin is giving us, and that is, what is Kid Buu's goal? Well, Shin explains that the whole goal of Buu is to systematically wipe out all life in the universe. So basically meaning he targets living creatures and just wipes them all out. He just tries to find any humans, animals, whatever, and just obliterates them. That was his goal. Obviously, it was due to Bibidi that he led to this. Actually no, I wouldn't say that. He was going to do this himself. It's just that both of their goals lined up with each other. And this is very important, because when Shin explains to us him wiping out these planets, he says he systematically targeted life. Why is that important? Well, if you think about it, this means that he wouldn't be attacking just every planet or every solar system. He'll be only attacking planets and solar systems that have life on it. So he has a specific target that he's going for. And wiping out an entire galaxy, or just wiping out every solar system in a galaxy is not necessary if there's no life there. So Kid Buu, this feat will make it even more impressive that he was targeting these, and it would make more sense why he was attacking why he stated planets specifically, stating that he wiped out hundreds of planets instead of saying he wiped out solar systems and stuff. And like I said, this is important because, let's be honest, most solar systems and planets don't have life. In our world, our Earth is the only one that we found that actually has like life on it. But in the Dragon Ball world, there's obviously countless other planets with life on it. But I would still say not every planet, every solar system, and every galaxy in the Dragon Ball universe would have life in or on it either. So that basically means that Buu wasn't attacking every planet or every solar system. He was specifically targeting ones. So let's say he goes into a solar system, he would be attacking only a couple of the planets. He would only be wiping out a couple of the planets that have life on it. At most, you could argue there'll be like 2 or 3 planets in that solar system that have life on it. So for each solar system, he'll be wiping out only 2 to 3 planets. So that makes it even more impressive. And then we have some solar systems that would have no planets on it. So he would have to go past those to find ones that do. And then he would also, most likely, there might be even galaxies that don't have any life on it at all. So he could be hopping from galaxy to galaxy, making this even more impressive if he's specifically targeting certain planets. And it makes sense why it would take him a few years too then, because he would be, let's say he goes to one solar system, wipes out a couple planets, then goes to another one, because the distance between planets is millions of miles of distance, and the distance between solar system is a couple of light years, which is trillions upon trillions of miles apart. So he would be going great distances to wipe them out. So it makes sense why it would take him that long to wipe out, a certain amount of planets. So that would even make it even more impressive of he's doing that. So yeah, even though you can say, well, he didn't wipe out the entire galaxy. Well, you can also argue that his plan wasn't to wipe out the entire galaxy. It was just to wipe out certain planets in that galaxy. And he wiped out most of it because of the planets that did have life on it. So this will be impressive for that reason, and for a speed reason, I guess, because you could say that he was able to go millions to even trillions of miles within a few years and wipe out planets. So he was going from solar system to solar system alone. That would make him many times faster than the speed of light to go to these planets. Now, some people suggested that technically, maybe Bibidi used his magic to transport them to these worlds, like how he did when Goku was fighting Yakon, and Vegeta too. He was transporting them to their planet so they can fight there. But that's never been stated that he used the ship or that magic to do so. It was because from what we saw from the flashback, and I know it's not canon, it was not the manga, but what we see is he was just riding on his back. So basically, he was flying. And we do see him wiping out a planet, and he's far away, and he has to shield himself because he's like, are you crazy? Also, since he did have him in company, I don't think Kid Buu was allowed to release that much power to wipe out all this stuff, because, he wouldn't let him release that much energy because it would kill him. If he's setting off solar system busting attacks or galaxy busting attacks, no amount of barriers can protect him. The only thing he can do is stay far, far away from it, like insane distance away from it. But if he does, then Buu would be able to just escape. I'm pretty sure he wanted to keep as close as possible to Buu, but also not be in his danger zone. And the only way for him to do that is for Buu to hold back his power and not fully use it. So that would make him even more impressive if that's the case. So the whole systematic thing, I think, really does give more argument to the people that are saying he's Galaxy Buster, because he wouldn't be attacking everything. Even though he's crazy and doesn't care, he would be specifically targeting and having a goal of attacking certain planets. So that means there'll be countless planets that he wouldn't attack and countless solar systems that he wouldn't attack. So he would be going around from one to another. And since he would be flying, this would make him even faster. This would make him impressively fast to go this distance, millions of times faster than the speed of light. And also makes sense why he couldn't just wipe it out at once. But there's another problem with this, and this is the biggest problem that a lot of people don't actually think about or go into in depth with. And I actually just thought about it. I was like, you know what? That doesn't make any sense. And this will completely destroy the argument. And that is, which Boo was Shin actually particularly talking about? Was he talking about Kid Boo, or was he talking about Fat Boo? And the reason I say this is a lot of people just assume that he was talking about Kid Boo. But if you think about it, it wouldn't make sense for him to be talking about Kid Boo, both in the story and in real life. It wouldn't make sense if it was about Kid Boo. First, let's talk about the story, why it can't be Kid Boo. Why wasn't it Kid Boo? Well, when they were getting to the battlefield, the Boo that they were going to be facing against would be Fat Boo. It wouldn't be Kid Boo. Hell, by the time when Kid Boo, he started changing into Kid Boo, Shin was so surprised. He was like, I didn't expect him to go divert back to his old self. He was expecting the new one, the Fat Boo, to come out and fight them. And also, it just wouldn't make sense for him to be explaining to, the Z Fighters that, oh, Boo's such a threat, and use a feat from Kid Boo of he didn't expect Kid Boo to come back. Also, if Kid Boo wasn't the version of Boo they were fighting. They were fighting Fat Boo. So why would he tell him how terrifying Boo is by describing, Kid Boo? So that's why I believe that he wasn't talking about Kid Boo, but Fat Boo, because they were going to fight him, and he wasn't expecting Kid Boo to come back. So there's no point of explaining how powerful and terrifying Kid Boo is when they're fighting the weaker version of him, which is Fat Boo. And then when you look at the real life aspect, let's look at it through Toriyama's eyes. How does Toriyama think when he's writing his stories? Well, we all know that Toriyama is not like a conventional writer. He doesn't usually plan ahead and think of these things long ahead in the story. He basically does it. He writes the story as it goes. So each of these ideas, they change over the time that he's writing these stories. So whatever idea he has in the beginning of the story, it will be completely different towards the ending of the story because he doesn't try to put anything on it. Also, it depends on his editors, because if you look at the Cell Saga in particular, there was a lot of changes that happened. First, he wanted the androids to be Android 19 and 20, but he wanted them to be 19 and 20, but one of his editors was like, well, I don't like that. One is a fat, ugly robot, and the other one's an old man. I don't think this is gonna work. So Toriyama was like, okay, I'm gonna change it. He changed it to Android 18 and 17, and then his editor once again said, I just don't believe that it would be a good idea to have two, teenagers to be, two teenage-looking robots or androids to be a threat. So he's like, okay, he changed it, and that's when he wrote Cell. And then when he saw his first form Cell, he said he was too ugly. Second form Cell, he said he looks kind of dumb, so he changed it, and that's when we got final Perfect Cell. But Perfect Cell, and even Cell in general, wasn't in Toriyama's mind in the beginning of that arc. It only came into his mind after his editor changed his mind and told him, hey, change this, and then it led to that. So that's how Toriyama usually works. He doesn't plan this ahead. So for people to argue that this idea that he has later on was what he was explaining beforehand, it doesn't make sense. So in the story, what I'm basically saying is that the concept of Kid Boo wasn't in Toriyama's mind or implicated in the story early on. It was only implicated later when, they were getting close to that event. So by that logic, technically, there's no way he could be even talking about Kid Boo. It would have to be Fat Boo for the particular reason that Toriyama didn't even think about Kid Boo in the first place. If it was, like I said, it wouldn't make sense that it would be about Kid Boo because he didn't have the idea of Kid Boo. He even explains in one of his interviews that he thought of Kid Boo right on the spot as they were going along with it. So yeah, Kid Boo was not an idea beforehand. Fat Boo was supposed to be just how Boo looked like, but then he changed it up later on. So even in a real life aspect, there's no way that could be, he would be writing about Kid Boo's feet. That had to be Fat Boo's feet. So that is a big contradiction to this argument, and it's very important because Fat Boo is far weaker than Kid Boo. We saw what happened when he fought him. He was getting destroyed, and he was playing with him on top of that. He was destroying him. So we know Kid Boo is far stronger than him. So if you're trying to argue that, well, by these feats that this means that he's not a Galaxy Buster, because you know all these reasonings, you can argue by saying, well, technically that would be debunking Fat Boo, not Kid Boo, because Kid Boo in himself, he was not written. So Kid Boo is stronger than that. So all those feats that we were explaining and talking about and going more in depth, that is Fat Boo's feats and accomplishments, because he was around for 5 million years. So he did have quite a bit of time to be causing havoc himself. So I think those feats and the arguments and debates shouldn't be about Kid Boo, but more about Fat Boo than Kid Boo. And with that argument, that basically means that Kid Boo would be a lot stronger than what we have, whether you're saying he's a Galaxy Buster or just a multi-solar system buster. Personally, I feel like even with that, I wouldn't consider Kid Boo or Fat Boo Galaxy Busters, but I would consider them more than just simple solar system busters. I think they can do more than destroy a solar system like a few of them, at least hundreds of thousands of them within one shot. Or I guess I would consider them a nebula buster. And obviously nebula is just a cloud where it creates stars, but nebulas are huge. They're bigger than multiple stars. I mean, they're bigger than multiple solar systems. There's clusters of solar systems that are smaller than a single nebula. So I think he's more on that level. For me particular, that's what I think. But I do think that this shows something even more impressive than just him being a Galaxy Buster. This shows that Kid Boo is at least millions of times faster than the speed of light. If he was able to destroy hundreds of planets within just a few years, and him selecting those planets that have life, basically mean he was bouncing from planet to planet, solar system to solar system. That would make him even faster than that. So I think that's a more impressive feat than the whole, you know, how much power he has, like how much he can destroy. So hopefully this clears up some of the confusion and some of the arguments in this big long-running debate, but it probably won't. Who knows? So with that being said, that's it for the video.